Hey guys, welcome to Taste of Recovery, the podcast.
Where we explore one's honest journey of surrender, willingness, acceptance, and courage.
I'm Alicia Spenlove.
And I'm Eden Sassoon.
Please join us every week for authentic and raw conversations with inspiring people in recovery.
We invite you and our guests to get real because the disease of addiction does not discriminate.
Oh, no, it doesn't. And we go through so many emotions. We laugh, we cry, we pray.
So get ready for a taste of recovery.
My father would have said, you don't have a drinking problem. You drink great. You have a quitting problem.
It's our pleasure to introduce to you Mike B.
Enjoy his taste of recovery.
Get ready for a taste of recovery. Get ready for a taste of recovery.
RECOVERY.
Oh, Mike, welcome to Taste of Recovery. Now you know what you're in for.
Yes.
But you do have so much wisdom and humor to offer so many people. You are in the blue chair today, mister.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're going to serve
I don't know
about
wisdom.
Experience. That's wisdom.
No, more questions than answers. Not so when I started.
I love that.
When I had my intervention, I threw the flag on myself. I decided maybe I'd stop drinking rather than die. And this is a very short time ago. And I'd known them both my whole life. And he said, you're smarter than everybody, aren't you? And I looked at him and completely serious. Yeah, absolutely. I had all the answers, no questions. And now I got questions. I got a lot of questions, but very few answers.
Where in this process were you able to understand that I don't have any answers? Surrender.
Yeah, I was joking with a buddy last night, which is so really, truly, ironically comical. You know, I've known him for 40 plus years. And I said, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a fairly willful guy. And when it came to life was unmanageable, I wanted to pick the word apart. I was inside the dictionary. And for every second of sobriety that passes, my certainty that it was unmanageable and my life was an absolute living, ticking time bomb train wreck, rolling unabated down the track. But when I first came in, not so sure. And I literally take shit at my original home meeting because after the first meeting, one of the senior guys says, are you going to come back? And I literally said to him, I don't know. I'm kind of looking around. I literally gave him just looking.
Yeah.
You know, okay, let me know if you see something you like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is kind of legendary because it was not, you know, I didn't think to just lie like I'd been my entire life. Yeah, absolutely, I'll be back. But, yeah, somebody I heard in our meeting just the other day say, I've got 9 years now, and I have just a little more than 2.5. And he said, thank you, and happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
He said, I know so much less now than I ever did. And when I first came in the room, I have notes of the first 500 days of meetings. I took notes. I knew stuff, and I don't know anything now other than how to navigate. I think I know how to navigate, which is to say, God, and I sound like I'm being preachy.
Preach.
I know how to get myself out of trouble before I've done damage. In my mind, I'm in trouble. Absolutely, in my mind, I'm in peril, and it's that voiceless, screaming dream where you can't run and your friends are driving away and you're naked, and it's all of those. It's that motherfucker of all dreams. But before I even move into action, the muscle memory of what I'm learning in the program is saying, stop for a minute. Hammer time. Take that thing. And just some random musings. A fellow led a meeting, and this is, I think, the most brilliant statement about how my mind works. He said, I get up in the morning and my resentments take over like a fucking home invasion robbery. And it's a ghastly picture. But if you're anything like me, when the resentments come in, here comes an old man. My brain creates resentments like the beginning of Billy Joel's Allentown, where you hear the factory going, and you see little cars. I create resentments like a General Motors factory. I don't make one. I make thousands. And once the factory gets turning and the foreman says, yeah, these models look good, then, the little demon in my mind turns up the speed, and now it's
right.
And they're chugging. And I'm learning, going back to questions, how do I slow that down? I know that masking the factory, which are the resentments, with booze, coke, sex, whatever it is, that won't get it done. But I have the tool now, they say you get 1/2 a second for every year of sobriety. So I've got 1.5 seconds, and that saves my life. And this will be my only book reference, but 10th step, restraint of pen and tongue. Just being able to take a second and go, okay, let's think about what's really going on here. Versus, well, let's think about what's going on here, and whatever you're into. I could get to the bourbon bottle, or I could get to the bindle every bit as physically quickly as I can now say, just settle down for a minute. Let's just take a little inventory and see what's going on. So,
can you tell us what that looked like, the bottle and you looked like?
So I graduated high school in 1976. I was a good kid in high school. My parents were not drinkers. I found this all on my own. My career ran the better part of 45 years. So when you hear somebody says, I've got 45 years of sobriety, you think to yourself, wow, that's an impressive number. I have a very, very long, destructive, illustrious, accomplished career of drinking and using. And I have no right to be here. It might look like me doing things that you can't apologize for. I was the circus monkey. I was the metronome of the party. I was, what is it on the dog track that's out in front that they're chasing the rabbit? Us Jews were not big dog racing fans.
But you were on fire.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Well, put it this way.
In every way.
So, when you're in a fraternity, I went to UCLA, they give you a nickname. And I hadn't been there 2 weeks. My nickname was Wild Man. And probably wasn't enough. A better explanation of my stupidity, recklessness, exploits. 2 DUIs, 2 cocaine-based overdoses, jailed for, truly unfairly in this one instance for a domestic violence incident, but certainly guilty. Drove drunk or in an altered state, I don't know, thousands of times, pardon me, I've got behind the wheel and put everyone near me, many times people in the car, in absolute peril. So that's what that looks like. Do you want to see pictures? There was a time where I would take pictures at the bottom of coming down. Because I was trying to beat it. And so be like the sun's coming up and you've run out. And I would take pictures of myself and try to use that. Look at yourself. Look what you look like. That wasn't enough.
And you still have them? Because I might want to see one or two. Yes, he does.
Yeah. And what brought you to your knees?
So COVID hit, and I was caring for my elderly mother. My business went from wherever it was, I'm in the financial services business, to the business went to zero. Because it's a business that's based on protecting retail, and retail stopped. So as a result, my clients stopped paying their bills, which is insurance. No money coming in, and you can't go anywhere. And I was sitting every evening drinking an entire bottle of bourbon.
The little fifth, are they called
A
fifths?
fifth is 750 milliliters.
Okay.
And I might do a good job at polishing off a handle, depending on what was happening. If I had near me the last sound of, I was done. I was done. I would polish off at least a 750 or more. I would get up the next morning and walk or run between 9 and 15 miles every day. And my friends all thought, oh my God, I was Forrest Barron. They're like, you're amazing. And what they didn't know is it took 3 to 5 hours to walk or run off the hangover. There was no business to be done. There was nothing to do but, you'd venture out and you'd forage for the family. And the last day of my drinking, I'd been on again, off again with my girlfriend at the time. And I stopped drinking for 3 days. And I'm generally, except for of late, in pretty good health. So my resting heart rate, my pulse, is 40 beats a minute, which is pretty low. And my blood pressure is 99 over 55. I stopped drinking for 3 days. I did not sleep a wink. I called her and I said, I think I'm in like full tachycardia. And I went to an ER. My pulse was 215. I was in full alcohol withdrawal, cardiac. And that was,
whoa.
They brought me down, gave me some pills. And what do you think I did 3 days later?
Drink.
A lot. Went back, drank a handle, and the sound of the last drink or drinking episode I ever had is the sound of the human bald head hitting a bare ass empty handle next to your bed. Dink! And I hear that sound at least 5 times a day. I wasn't generally a day drinker, but I started in the day, drank in the night, passed out, and the next morning that sound of bash, bing. And that was last time I had a drink.
And that was during COVID.
So you're a miracle.
I'm not a miracle. I'm a poster boy of a dinosaur that snuck through. There's no reason for me to be here.
Which, by the way, is a miracle.
Oh.
I love you. I mean,
take a 30-second break for all of you to miracle. Just a picture.
It's fucking magic. You're here, Mike.
Hey, it's Mike the Miracle.
It's your picture in the dictionary.
Yeah.
At 60, if I do the math right, which I probably won't, 62, 63,
I came in just short of 62.
What? Ouch, and amazing. Like, I don't mean.
So we're sitting in what, a 15 by 15 room?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In my last 2.5 years, I think I calculated I drank, let's call it, I mean, there are bottles over there, but let's call it 1,000 bottles of bourbon.
Yeah.
Line that up, put a price tag on it, take an inventory of what the mental and emotional cost is of one of those. And I was doing one a day, just bang, 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 bang. And by the way, it doesn't mean that I wasn't doing lots of other things in copious amounts that should have taken my life. I got through. I wish, forgive me.
No, please.
I wish somebody had just grabbed me by the shoulders and said, dude.
I was just going to say, did you have friends that had any, like, I would have smacked you over the head and maybe been like, all right, I'm done with you. I mean, I might have tough loved you.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out why I couldn't make relationships work. I couldn't figure out why my work relationships were.
No women
trouble.
in your life.
My closest friends, now most of them don't live in town. You know, when I outed myself, they're like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Are you kidding?" You know, we were doing weekly Zooms, and the weekly Zoom would be me with 5 fingers in a boat with 2 of the big rocks and a cigar.
And they were probably having their wine or whatever too, right?
Well, there's a lot of that. I mean, you come out and you say, yeah, I've got a problem. And your close circle either says, yeah, duh. Or they say, well, that can't be because if he has a problem, then,
Exactly.
What am I?
Exactly. Because I used to call people when I thought I was drinking too much and say, do you think I have a problem because I drank, all that wine the night before? No, girl. You're good, because we all were,
Yeah, except
all
for
my friends.
When I said it, it would be like, my father, who was a very funny man, would have said, had he known, had he been around for the real bottom, would have said, you don't have a drinking problem. You drink great. You have a quitting problem. I was a great drinker. And I took pride in it. In my 50s, I'd go away to tropical places and there'd be beer drinking contests and I'd be smoking these younger guys. How do you like me now? And thinking that was, attractive.
Did you have a higher power when all this was, the last 50 years?
Well, so let's define terms. Is a higher power a thing, a place, or an idea that you go to help understand the world we live in?
Yes. I mean, yes, but I don't necessarily, it's everything. So the answer to your question is yes, if I don't have to go deeper into that.
Right.
And then it's the idea of love and the action that we take. And
oh no. So that my higher power wasn't into love.
But today.
Well, you asked, but back then, my higher power
was into Mike. Yeah.
Because that's where I went to bandage, repair, explain, define, or work through what was going on in my universe. Because I literally, as a man in his 60s, had never behaved as an adult in terms of problem solving. I was petulant. I was needy. I had complete impulse, self-control issues. I had never, ever, ever really had mature, adult, contemplative
You were coming around to being an adult and how that,
Oof.
Yeah, I really want to know what that looks like because, and I'm just going to say it, and for someone who's 62 years old, you haven't had children. I know that, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
Right. I don't know unless I've forgotten as far as if you were married or not. I know somewhat about some relationships that you've had, but
divorced and separated 2 months after my 30th birthday.
So when you say that you started adulting at 62, 63, that's real. And yet to me, I look at you, I'm like, how is he just an adult? I mean, you are one of the wisest people I know. Such a generous heart, funny. You're there. You're a good start because you're pretty incredible. And you show up.
So here's how you mask that. And you know a lot about this. You're by nature, as am I, overly empathetic. You're inside, and I'm not pointing the finger at you. We are inside of the savior complex of codependency.
Yep.
And oh no, this isn't about me. I'm going to put the mask on you, and I'll care for you, and I'll caretake you. And when that loses its value, be it in a love relationship, a professional relationship, a familial relationship, the currency has no value. And it's like, I had no value in my relationships because I did not have the versatility, the tools, the game, the humanity, the adulting to be able to problem solve and really be, again, of value to anybody. And again, to those 9 of my friends that are still there, where were you? It's because the book is a little gray on do you advise someone in, right?
Right.
But boy, the gifts and the peace of mind and the confidence that comes with knowing I have tools and skills and I'm kind of MacGyver. I can whip something up that get me out of a pinch. That's real human power. And, I waited way, half a century of almost of an adult life to get that. It's way too late.
And when you say get that, right? Like when we have to get something, that means we have to take action.
I meant to actually understand and then actually take ownership of it.
Take ownership. And then what were the steps? Literally that you've had to do to take ownership of that?
One, shut my fucking mouth and realize I didn't know anything. My dad would always joke. He called me Miguelito, little Michael. He'd say, Miguelito, those people who think they know everything are annoying to those of us who actually do. Yeah, I'll throw this out. Like you go to meetings and there are those people and they have time. I'm not talking about newcomers whose sponsor says, you need to share every time you're in a meeting. I'm talking about old timers who feel they need to share every day. I don't want to be that person. I want to hear somebody else's story. I want to just shut my fucking mouth. 2, take a look around. We watch, for some odd reason, the TV in my bedroom comes on to the Hoarders Network.
There's a network?
Oh, yeah. They spin Hoarders 24.
Whoa.
Oh, Lord.
It's just like, Grandparent. And so, you're thinking to yourself, how does that person not know that things have gotten a little, there's feces and droppings and stuff piled, but they don't know. And that was me. No awareness. Just take a look around. There are inventories that can be taken, but look around, smell, use your senses. And when I stopped for just a minute and used some sense, and looked at my life, I had blown past the intersection of unmanageable and was bombing the highway at 120 miles an hour, hair not on fire.
He has no hair.
Hair is extra. But, yeah, that was a good start for me. And, I got in the rooms. I'm not setting the world on fire with how I do step work. I do a lot of reading. I do pray. I try to meditate. And the one thing I do that I never did before is every day and every hour, I give myself a fucking break. Alcoholics were smart people, and we don't do that. And I've just gone through something in a personal health manner that's my own journey. It was new to me, and I'm just learning to be grateful that a 4-month thing, I made it through. I didn't drink. I didn't use. And I got to give myself a fucking break and pat myself on the back.
Agreed.
And I don't hear that enough. If you're using today and you go to a meeting tomorrow, congratulate yourself. I really don't have the answers. I got a lot of questions. Over to you.
I think you're so inspiring. I really do. No, because so I'm getting sober at 55, like really getting sober. This has been a 2-year journey for me. I'm doing it. I've made the decision. I've had some health issues. So when I hear your story, it's inspiring to me. Because when I go into the rooms and I hear a lot of, I've been sober 40 years. I've been sober 32 years. Just to hear that you're sober almost 3 years now and you're in your early 60s.
First go round. I mean,
yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Where the fuck was I?
But it's inspiring. You know what? Listen, there are people that will not get it and will die. And, you know, you've got a great life to live. And speaking for myself at 55 and Eden at 50, that's what we're talking about now. We've got the rest of our life to live and this community and how we can talk to each other and be honest and real and to get something so intimate from you that I couldn't get from you if we were drinking.
Well, 2 thoughts. First of all, Eden is well past 50 and a half.
Listen, Dick.
I like to read. I don't ever read fiction. It just never spoke to me. It's always nonfiction biographies. The writings of Alcoholics Anonymous are magnum opus level pieces of literature that should be mandatory reading for every young adult as a way to consider running one's life. And ask yourself the question, what do you think? And then you should have to come back a few years later and read it again and consider it. It's a few hours, but I kept saying, because everybody who doesn't know thinks, that, we're drowning puppies in the AA meetings. And I said, the reading is genuinely the greatest written gift that I know of. There's no fire or storm that cannot be put out, reduced, managed by picking up one of the seminal pieces of literature, picking a page, and reading for 5 minutes. It's unfreaking believable.
This is so spot on. And I think that the DMV tests you for all this stuff you need to know out on the road.
Right?
They should actually make this mandatory. And you're right, 3 years, come back and give them absolutely. Wow.
It's like parenthood. You gotta have,
right.
Where Keanu Reeves, bro, you gotta have a license to fish. You gotta have a license to hunt. You gotta have but they'll let me butt ream an asshole have a kid. You should, and again, I'm not proselytizing the program. I'm strongly advocating and giving over my existence and thanking and saying, these readings are so spot on, and they're 80 plus years old. It's bananas. Absolute worth the read. Yeah.
I have to go back to this idea. Sorry, it's coming to me as I'm thinking of.
What is that?
This is the magic in the air. Like, I don't believe time exists, right? But in reality and human, and there is this existence of time, we age. Okay, so you are 63. So there's this urgency, right? And you're newly sober, and I watch the growth. And it's remarkable. For someone who doesn't know what you have now or know now, and they're listening and they're of this age and there is urgency and they think that it might last for, I don't know, like, what is it that you could give them to be like, hey, dummy, get a load of this?
I can't remember what the reference was, but time has different value. If you're talking about, it was in a movie about the theory of relativity, and relativity, and I'm paraphrasing, is having a first kiss with somebody that you have a real longing and passion for, and that kiss lasts 5 minutes, versus having your right butt cheek on a boiling stove for 5 minutes. That's relativity. What the sobriety has given me is this lack of maniacal, pure mania urgency. And if it doesn't happen in my time, if I don't get what I want, if she doesn't pick up the phone, if she doesn't tell me if they don't give me my raise, if you don't do for me what I want, and if it doesn't happen now, the absolute anxiety, mania, and energy I'm throwing off is dark, dark, dark. And I can disconnect from that a little bit. And I'm going to face some fear today, I'm sure. I'm going to think about uncertainty. I'm going to think about a love lost. I'm going to think about an opportunity squandered. And none of it will last through the time I go to bed, because I'll be able to clean them up. Going back to that hoarder's example, I'll dust them off. Most of them will get thrown away. I might talk to some people. I might talk to one of you. Eden, we may talk. I may talk to my sponsor. I may just talk to myself. I carry so much less weight. My grandpa, who was the real genius of the family, said, "When I move for the last time, I want that I should have 53 items, only 53. I want a toothbrush and a deck of cards." And he wanted, I think what he was saying is he wanted to travel lightly here.
Yeah.
And I'm working towards that. So time is a friend. I wish like hell I'd done this.
So I hear a lot of faith. I hear a lot of action. Faith without works is dead, right? That
Yes.
saying, faith without works is dead. And you are putting in that work.
I have a drone. I can now, in real time, hover over my life and watch what I'm doing and see what that appears like. Then at a moment's notice, I can at least take a look at myself and kind of check myself. How you doing? I had an episode with some doctors the other day, and I came out of an appointment just loaded for bear and knew I was wrong. And had the tool, pulled out my kit, called my sponsor, understand I can't control them. They didn't do what I had written in their script. They weren't following my direction. And I'm good. And within 10 minutes, it was that, I'm just rambling now, but that power to take that anger, fear, desperation, mania, impulse. That's my version of it. And to take that and be able to dispose of it without a hazardous material dump is probably the greatest gift I'm going to know in my life.
That was perfection.
Yeah. You're aware of your life. You're aware. You can observe your life.
I mean, think about how much time we've spent age-wise being unaware. Mm-hmm. I owe the legacy of my life better than to continue to behave in the way that I behaved. Mm. And my mom is not aware of her circumstances and nonverbal and hasn't spoken in 2.5 years. But I go and I read to her and I talk to her and I make amends. Just to go back in for a second, my father, such a complex relationship with my dad. My dad left my mom when I was 5 or 6. And I was going through one of the many tough times in my life. And now, in retrospect and real honesty, it was caused by drinking and using. Everybody knew I was having problems, and he came. He was living in Huntington Harbor, and I was living in Hancock Park, and I had a business downtown LA. And he came to me, and my father he only cried twice in my life. He lived to be 90. But he looked at me with tears in his eyes at the old Yorkshire Deli downtown LA, and he said, "You were the happiest baby. You were the happiest kid. And you had a twinkle in your eye. What's happened to you?" I spent decades, an ex-girlfriend used to say, "You are fighting a war of one." Mm-hmm. I needed to be the guy who was right in a Facebook discussion. I was the guy who had to be right when the guy's making the illegal U-turn. I was the guy who had to be right at the bar with the conversation about who played second base for the Phillies in '78. I had to win everything. And I'm not wired that way so much anymore. I mean, I'm working on it. That's
one day at a time.
It's beautiful.
God, we owe our family and we owe the world and we owe the community. And I know this sounds preachy as hell, but God, we just owe it back. Just be better to ourselves. You don't have to go buy somebody something or give something. Give it to yourself. Be fucking generous to yourself for a minute. God, if I took back all of this wasted crap that I thought I was giving to somebody, and I don't just mean materially, and just gave 10% of that to me, I'd be so much healthier. I might still have hair.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope these stories have touched your hearts and left you with a newfound appreciation for the incredible strength within us all.
And if you found our podcast to be a source of inspiration, we'd be extremely grateful if you could take a moment to rate and review us.
Yes, review us.
Your support helps us reach more people on the path to recovery.
And while you're at it, hit that follow button on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Remember, you're not alone. One day at a time, we got this.